So the real estate journey started, I believe, with a house hack in Andersonville. So
Yes.
let's start there with, what gave you the bug, and then why a house hack and why Andersonville?
Yeah, sure. So I rented in Chicago. I originally, after grad school, I moved back to Chicago and lived in Rogers Park for a couple of years, and then just really loved Andersonville. My husband was working in the city of Evanston, like in the local government, and so he was adamant about not having a terrible commute. And so Andersonville to me was like the coolest, most northern neighborhood in Chicago. And so we rented for a few years and we were huge Susie Orman fans. And she was saying, 20% down, 8 months emergency fund. And so we were just very fiscally conservative. And we finally got to that point after renting in Andersonville for 3 years. And we were just walking around the neighborhood and saw a for sale sign and then an open house sign on a duplex that was literally 3 blocks away from where we lived. And so we walked through, loved the place. It wasn't as cute as the rental that we were living in. Our apartment had been recently renovated. And so it would have been like slightly a step back just in terms of comfort level, but the location was great and the ability to own was really appealing to us. And the other thing that was really attractive about this property is that it had one unit that was vacant and one unit that was already rented. And so I think it was being rented for $1,400 a month when we took over. Our rent at the time was, I think, $1,800 a month for a 2-bed, 1 bath. And so by moving in, we were able to reduce our housing expense by about like $300 a month. So it wasn't anything crazy, but over the course of our ownership, which it's been about 6 years now, our rent rate is $18.95. And so it's consistently increased. We have had zero vacancy. This neighborhood is super popular and attractive to renters. And so we've found amazing quality tenants they've all become our friends over time. And so we've had amazing neighbors, really consistent rent payments, even through COVID. And maybe 3 years ago, we did a major renovation to our unit. So one of the things that really attracted me to this duplex in particular, it's a Victorian 2-flat, was it had a completely unfinished attic. And so I just loved the idea of bringing this house to its full potential. And so we ended up, and this is pre-COVID, we ended up basically finishing out that entire attic to be more of like a primary suite. So it has our bedroom up there. It's got a huge master bathroom that has we're not tub bath people. And so it's got what's called the party shower. So I haven't tried fitting all these people in, but I'm sure it could fit like 15 people tightly. So, and then it's got like a loft space up there, which originally was going to be an office space, but we've just used it as like a separate lounge area for us. And so even though when we first moved in, it was kind of a step back in terms of comfort level, it really gave us the opportunity to kind of get used to the property, see what we like, what we don't like. And then when we were able to get more cash, we were able to just finish it out the way that we wanted. And then
So
this
real
was
quick
right when COVID. Oh,
yeah,
go
so
ahead.
real quick to interject, you mentioned rents going up there, which is great. But if
Yeah.
you don't mind sharing, what was the purchase price and what do you think that thing's worth now? Or at least what do you think that
Yeah.
spread is?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
big one.
So we just got a new home equity line of credit. So I know what the most recent appraisal is. So we bought for 565. Our renovation was major. We had to get rid of a bedroom. We had to add interior stairs, which led to a complete kitchen renovation and then dormers and the whole shebang. And so our renovation was just over 200K. And so all in, we're at like, I would say 775. And our most recent appraisal, which was about 2 months ago, it's at 835 now. So I was just hoping for the day that our appraised value was over what we've put all in. And we did it for our comfort and our personal, our own choices. This to us was kind of like a potential forever home. Even if we don't live in this place forever, it's a forever hold for us. And so we're finally over the hump where The house is worth more than we've put into it. And every year we've just taken on a new little project. And so, as you can imagine, the contractors ruined the backyard with bringing all of the supplies and drywall in. I mean, the backyard was nothing to write home about anyways, but we have a dog. And so we ended up putting in like pet friendly turf, which is, for any dog owners, it's the greatest thing because she never comes in with muddy paws anymore. And it's low maintenance. And so that was one of the projects that we did, landscaping. We've just kind of done little things, bit by bit, but when it comes to turning over the downstairs unit, it's been pretty easy. I think we painted the first time we had a turnover. We've had 3 turnovers. The last one that we did, which was a little over a year ago, we literally could have taken the keys from the former tenant and handed them to the new tenant. Our tenant cleaned everything. The oven was clean. The fridge was wiped out. It was just in perfect condition. And during COVID, she was bored. So she asked if she could paint the entire unit. And I was like, well, it depends on what color. And she was like, can I do edgecomb gray? And I was like, absolutely, you can.
So 6 years ago, though, you just made this house sound way too easy. And you have a lot of listeners that are saying, oh, it was 6 years ago. You know, I'm too late. And everything you just said just sounded really easy. So going back 6 years ago, I'm sure it wasn't. You're a planner just from, if you listen to Susie Orman, you're a planner and you question everything you do. And you're conservative in that sense. Like, what was going through your mind at that time? What were the humps that you had to get over that maybe some of our listeners that are wanting to do what you did? What are some of those hurdles that are getting in their way?
Yeah. So we believed strongly in the neighborhood and the appreciation value. We had been renting in the area, so we were very familiar with the neighborhood. I was in all the Facebook groups. And so I was able to get the vibe of the neighborhood and what the community was like, what people were looking for in terms of their housing. And so I knew that if we bought this thing, the monthly payment, our portion of the monthly payment was going down, which allowed us to save more for reserves. We had a really solid home inspection report. So the inspector said, this thing is built solid, like they don't make them like this anymore. And so I think we just felt really comfortable with the property that we were finding. And so at the time, it was a little bit of a higher purchase price. And if you ask my friends who live in the suburbs that have 4,000 square foot homes for less than what we were buying, they would say we're crazy. But we also knew that we didn't want to have kids. And so it's not like we were going to have to like expand and get pushed out of our own home. We were going to be comfortable for a really long time. So I would say my advice to anybody that is looking to house hack is find an area that you truly believe in, where the numbers make sense. You're seeing new restaurants come in, or just new commerce in general. So even if it's in the suburbs, like, are you seeing a Topgolf getting built, around the block, or what are the types of attractions that are going to continue to make this community great, and are the schools, popular, or are people, criticizing the schools? And just, I feel like if you're an active community member, you will find out everything that you need to know about whether or not that is a place that is worth investing in.